What if I told you that the current NBA Finals MVP was almost traded 2 years earlier for a veteran who's now fading into irrelevance in the Western Conference? Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what happened, and no one seems willing to talk about how close Boston came to making one of the biggest strategic mistakes in its modern history. Back in the summer of 2022, the mood in Boston was tense. After losing the finals to the Golden State Warriors, the front office was desperate to take the final step. The problem, that step nearly became a leap into the void. Jaylen Brown was put on the trade block. Alongside him, Derrick White and a first-round pick were offered to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for Kevin Durant, as confirmed by insider Shams Charania. Yes, the Celtics were ready to give up their youth, defense, team chemistry, and long-term potential for a 34-year-old superstar with an injury history. No matter how legendary KD might be, there was serious mutual interest between Durant and the Celtics that offseason, Shams said on the Pat McAfee show. They offered Jaylen Brown, they offered Derrick White, they offered a first-round pick. Brooklyn said no. But was it just Brooklyn who said no, or did fate step in to save the Celtics from themselves? Let's put it all in perspective. By 2022, Durant was already showing signs of physical and emotional wear. His time with the Nets had been rocky, marred by injuries, drama, and instability. Trading away a rising star deeply connected to the locker room and the city for a decorated but volatile name might have sparked an internal collapse. Silent, but devastating. And we can't overlook the emotional fallout. How do you think Jaylen Brown felt seeing his name in trade rumors for weeks? That shook the foundation of his relationship with the franchise. It's no coincidence that even into 2023, there were doubts about his contract extension. The wounds were real. He admitted it. But instead of turning his back, Brown used that distrust as fuel. Eastern Conference Finals MVP, NBA Finals MVP, one of the most impactful players of the entire playoffs. And Durant, he switched teams again, ended up in Phoenix. Sure, he's putting up numbers, but the Suns, they're struggling just to stay in the top 6 of the West. KD has become the poster boy for immense talent, little stability. In Boston, he would have carried the full weight of a championship expectation that now belongs to Brown, Tatum, and company. Now ask yourself, would Durant have withstood the pressure of Boston? The relentless fan base, the defense-first culture that's been crafted over years? Or would the locker room have fractured between those who wanted KD and those mourning the loss of Jaylen? And more importantly, would Tatum have continued his natural evolution alongside Durant? Or would KD have overshadowed the process, creating an offensive dependency and positional overlap that stunted Tatum's rise? What no one saw coming was that the non-trade would become the real turning point in the dynasty Boston is building today. Brown not only stayed, he blossomed into one of the league's elite two-way players. Derrick White became a critical piece in Joe Mazzulla's system. And the first-round pick, still safely stored in Boston's war chest, waiting to be used with precision. Something Brad Stevens has shown time and again that he does better than anyone. Now let's bring up a thorny question most people shy away from. Did Brad Stevens truly want that trade? Or did he use the rumors as a psychological tool to push Brown to grow? Could it be that the whole thing was a calculated move to test the player's resilience? If that's the case, it reframes the entire situation and puts Boston's front office in a controversial spotlight. Because here's the ethical dilemma. Is it acceptable to motivate a player through insecurity? Another angle. Would Durant have accepted being the number 2 behind Tatum, or would he have demanded the spotlight, disrupting the collective structure that is now Boston's biggest strength? What we never expected was that not trading for Kevin Durant would lay the foundation for what could become the next great Celtics era. So now I turn it over to you. Was this one of the luckiest dodged bullets in franchise history? Or was it all part of a bigger plan? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you think this was intense, wait until you hear about the next twist involving the future of this Celtics core. With just one game left before the playoffs, the Boston Celtics made a bold and possibly controversial move. With the 15th and final roster spot open, the franchise from Massachusetts decided to reward J.D. Davison, the G League MVP, with a standard 2-year contract. But what looks, at first glance, like a well-deserved gesture of recognition might actually be a cryptic message about the future of Boston's point guard rotation. But is Davison truly ready for this stage? Or is the Celtics organization quietly planting the seed for a future shakeup that no one is willing to admit? At 22 years old, J.D. Davison was a true earthquake in the G League. 25.1 points, 7.6 assists, and 5.6 rebounds per game, dominating every offensive category in a main Celtics jersey. The kid erupted with authority. He raised the bar. He evolved. And now, from a distant promise, he's officially part of a roster that's dreaming of raising Banner 19. But the timing of this decision raises eyebrows. Right when Jrue Holiday's future is beginning to be questioned due to age, contract, and long-term role, Boston chooses to elevate a young, explosive point guard with enormous upside. Coincidence? Let's get into the uncomfortable facts. Jrue Holiday, a champion in his first season with the Celtics, is under contract through 2028-29, earning over $32 million per year. He's still one of the most respected defenders in the league and a clutch performer in big games. But what if Boston is already thinking beyond him? What if Brad Stevens is playing chess while the rest of the league plays checkers? Davison represents a future that few want to acknowledge is on the horizon, and the decision to include him on the playoff roster isn't symbolic, it's strategic. Even without guaranteed minutes, he'll breathe the same air as Tatum, Brown, Holiday, White, and Pritchard. In the locker room, on the practice floor, and in the heat of postseason battles. He'll absorb everything. This is a move that's not about today. It's about training camp in October. It's about 2026. It's about cost-cutting. But there's a catch. Davison hasn't proven anything at the NBA level yet. In the 15 games he played for the main roster this season, the numbers are harsh. 1.6 points per game, just 34.8% shooting, and only 20% from beyond the arc. Worse still, he's recorded more turnovers than assists. That might be understandable for a raw rookie, but Davison has been in the Celtics system for 3 seasons now. The grace period is running out. Does Joe Mazzulla truly trust J.D. Davison? Or did he simply accept the promotion as a front office mandate from a group already planning how to shed salary in the near future? And what about Peyton Pritchard, a tops candidate for 6th Man of the Year? He had to fight for every opportunity, stay patient, and prove himself on the court. And now he watches a new point guard arrive with G League MVP credentials and a guaranteed 2-year deal. Is there even room for 3-point guards in this rotation? And if Davison develops faster than expected during the playoffs or in the upcoming preseason, who gets squeezed out? The easiest and most obvious answer would be Jrue. He's the oldest, the most expensive, and even though he's still a defensive powerhouse, his offensive role is more limited. But is it really fair to trade a reliable veteran for a work in progress? Or are the Celtics walking into a strategic misstep that could cost them dearly if Davison doesn't live up to the hype? The truth is, behind a facade of stability, the Boston Celtics are making decisions that point to a slow but inevitable transformation. Yes, they want to win now, but they also want to be ready for the day Holiday slows down or Pritchard demands a bigger contract. And to prepare for that day, they need to find out whether J.D. Davison is the real deal, or just another classic case of G League hype gone too far. So now the question becomes, is this the beginning of a new chapter in Boston's backcourt, or a gamble that will backfire? Let's talk about it in the comments. And don't forget to check our breakdown on how Pritchard's role might quietly shift if Davison rises faster than expected. Are we looking at a ticking time bomb? According to ESPN's Ramona Shelburne, the Celtics star has been dealing with a bone bruise for weeks, an injury that has only worsened over time, so much so that the coaching staff has been forced to limit his minutes. In the game against the Knicks, he barely returned after halftime. Against the Magic, he didn't even travel with the team, and for the final regular season game against the Hornets, he's officially out. But this isn't just about a sore knee. What's really at stake here is the Boston Celtics' immediate future in the playoffs. Brown, known for his warrior spirit, seems determined to ignore his body's warning signs. But the question no one's asking is this bravery or self-destructive stubbornness? Kristaps Porzingis, his teammate, didn't hold back after the battle against the Knicks. He's tough. He always talks about that warrior mindset. But how much is that really helping us right now? It sounds innocent, but it's a clear message. There's a line between courage and recklessness, and Jaylen might be walking dangerously close to it. Pushing through pain at all costs may not be heroism. It might be carelessness. It might be sabotage. Coach Joe Mazzulla, for his part, tried to stick to the official script. We saw what we needed to see from him. We'll move forward. But what kind of answer is that? Could it be that what they needed to see is confirmation, that Brown is nowhere near 100%, and that tactical plans now need an urgent revision? And here's where things get even trickier. Brown won't reach the 65-game minimum required to be eligible for individual awards like All-NBA. That matters, not just to the ego, but financially. Awards impact contract bonuses, incentives, and in some cases, even future renegotiations and salary cap planning. Jaylen Brown is one of the most important players in the NBA. Eastern Conference Finals MVP, NBA Finals MVP, a cornerstone of the Celtics machine. But here's the reality. He's not healthy, and he might not be close to it either. His decision to keep playing, even through pain and with Boston already locked in as the second seed, is, at the very least, questionable. Why? Is it pride? A desire to lead? A fear of looking fragile? Worse still, are the Celtics allowing or even encouraging this behavior? Wouldn't it be smarter to rest Brown now so he can be closer to full strength in the playoffs? Or is the team afraid that sidelining him out of caution might spark doubts inside the locker room or around the league about the roster's real condition? The Celtics are heading into their most promising playoff run in over a decade. But if Jaylen Brown isn't at full strength, the entire strategy built around the Brown-Tatum duo starts to crumble. If he can't drive explosively, defend at a high level, or even play more than 20 minutes per game, the burden on Tatum, Porzingis, and Holiday multiplies. And with that, the risk of collapse grows. So the question remains, is this the price of ambition or the start of an avoidable downfall? Let me know what you think in the comments. Should the Celtics shut him down now or roll the dice with a limping superstar?